The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's start this conversation. Let's start this conversation. We got no relation.
Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans.
Hey, good evening, peeps. And it's going to be a long night. Hey, City. Hey, Kara. Hey, Kevin. I'm telling you what. Remember last Sunday and Tuesday, I was like wondering if Mother Nature went off her meditations. Well, she must have been back on them now. And I'll tell you why. Okay. It's like 85 degrees here in Pittsburgh, and it's hotter than hell. And my office is in East, and the windows open, but no air comes through. And I guess the humidity is like making my computer not do what it's supposed to be doing. Hey, Donna. But I don't know. Tonight's going to be a good night. I came up with the idea that talk about my 4 favorite investigations that I have done since I've been with PPS, since I started. And I picked 4 out, but you know what? It might go to 6. I have most of my investigations were the best. Okay. I mean, there were some places that we went to that you had to pay, and that was one of them on my list, or 2 of them on my list, but it was well worth it. But that was at the beginning. But as you all know, I refuse to pay to go investigate where other groups have been at. The reason being is because you have to pay a ton of money. Second reason, there's over so many people that went investigating into certain locations, okay, that spirits kind of know what you're there for. And so I refuse to. I keep telling people, and this is so true, okay, that I go to Kara's house and I can find ghosts. I can go to Donna's place, Cindy's place, Kevin's place, find some ghosts. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. And that's why I refuse to pay. But I want to thank UPRN, Talk Radio 105.3, Mississippi 107.7 New Orleans for me to give you 2 of the week, Sunday night. Remember, everybody, it's 8:10. And as you can tell, my internet's off. I guess it had to do with the heat, you know. But and my Tuesday night show will be from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so sit back, drink your tea, drink your cokes, whatever you got, smoke cigarettes, do what you need to do. Sit back and enjoy the show tonight. Well, the very first house that I want to get to, or locations, and it's called the Bel Air House in Bel Air, Ohio. Okay. But before I go on, I have to give a shout out to my friend who owns the Ross House down in Bel Air, Ohio, which is very haunted. I've had the opportunity to investigate down there, and yes, there are some spirits that hang around. So, um, if you want to, um, and if you're in the Bel Air, Ohio area, just check them out, the Ross House and the Bel Air House, because they're really freaking haunted. Hey, Gary, good to see you, brother. Joni, good to see you, hon. And both times, I love the way your dentures whistle. Well, to be honest with you, Mr. Turribla, terrible times. I have no dentures at all. I have no teeth. So there. But that's okay. I'm glad that you can hear me whistle because I do whistle a lot when I talk. But the first house, like I said, was the Bel Air House, and it's in Bel Air, Ohio. And I'm going to read a back thing about it. I'm not going to get into the history, but I want to get into why it is considered one of the most haunted locations in the United States. The Bel Air House in Bel Air, Ohio is considered one of the most haunted locations in the United States. Its reputation stems from a combination of tragic local history, supposed Native American curses, occult practices like seances that allegedly open spiritual portals, and the history of violent, unexplained paranormal activity. Paranormal researchers and locals trace the intense activity to the very ground the house is built on. The property sits on the suspected fault line. This is true. Is reportedly adjacent to sacred Native American burial caves. And it is situated over coal mines that suffered deadly accidents. Many believe this geographic combination traps negative energy. Prominent legend involves the home's original owners, the Hetheringtons family. In 1947, a woman named Clyde Hetherington died of a heart attack in the living room. Distraught, her brother Edwin began holding frequent seances in the home to contact her. According to lore, these amateur occult practices created a spiritual portal that allowed dark entities and entities such as a spirit known as Emily or the Gray Man to enter the home. The house is infamous for aggressive phenomena. Successive families abandoned the property over the years due to disembodied voices, phantom footsteps, and objects being thrown. Current owners and paranormal investigators have documented intense encounters, including shadow figures, physical scratches, and even an instance where the entity allegedly threw the owner's dog across the room. Now, that's the haunted stuff about the Bel Air House. Okay. Now, I'll tell you about the investigations down there. Okay. I believe that I went down there 3 times. And whenever we would go to a place that's out of state, we at least stayed a weekend, which means we would investigate like on a Friday night and Saturday night and go home on Sunday. And I have so many true encounters down there that will like blow your mind. Okay. And the biggest one that there's 2 or 3. I mean, it's really literally crazy. But the one time we were down there, and it was a Friday night, and it was a great investigation. Honestly, it was a great investigation. All the ghosts were friendly. We got some good evidence. It was just a nice, relaxated investigation. Nobody had anything bad happen to them. No one saw nothing evil, nothing like that. Everything was like so cool, right? But the next day, as God is my witness, okay, in the afternoon, we could feel the house starting to turn evil. No lie, it started to turn evil. It was so evil. And the reason why I say evil is because it's the only word I can come up with right now. But it was so bad, so evil, that you could just cut the tension in the rooms. You can cut the energy. It was so thick in the house itself that you could actually cut a knife. Cut it with a knife. It was that intense. And then that night, that's when shit happened. Okay. I mean, we broke up into our groups, you know, and everybody was on pins and needles. Now, at the time, the people I had in my group then, okay, I mean, they were tough as nails, right? Because we've been to a lot of investigations together. They know what they had to do. And a lot of people were freaking out. Their equipment would not work. People would see shadows all over the place. And you'd sit in the living room, okay? You would sit in the living room and you can actually hear disembodied. Hey, Angie, Thomas. Hi, Angie, how are you? And you could actually hear disembodied voices. And nobody was talking in the group. You could actually feel air run by you, like someone walked right by you or through you. You heard a lot of banging. It was like really freaking intense. Okay. Hey, Sherry, good to see you. Yes, it's always good to see you. Thanks for the moose picture today. I appreciate that. And now all we got to do is take care of Hudson and Rex, and we'll be all right. But it was tense. A lot of people's equipment, like I said, stopped. I remember some cameras being thrown across the room. And we could not understand why all this negative energy was happening, why all this stuff was happening to our equipment. And and there were people who did get touched. There were people who got punched. It was crazy. It was getting to the point where we were just going to pack up and go home. And that's the truth. That's the truth. We were about to, pack up and leave. But we didn't. We held out. And somehow, we survived that. Everybody went to bed. I couldn't sleep. No way. No way could I sleep. And, but I did. But it was a very, very intense investigation. Really, really intense. But the last time we went down there was the crazy one. Okay. Um, we were all sitting around the table, the dining room table, and there was these hurricane candles. I don't know what they are. Hurricane candles are, but the real tall candles, glass-like things. like a glass, a big long glass, and it had a candle in it, you know. And so we lit it, and we were just looking at the candle, and just like just looking at it. And then one of my group members, we were thought, Edwin was in the room with us because we can feel him. We could feel Edwin. And my group member said, Edwin, if you are in here, hey, Squatch Man, Edwin, if you are here, blow out the candle. I have video to this, but I don't know how to put it up on the screen. I said, he said, Edwin, if you're here, can you blow out the candle? But don't burn yourself as you're blowing out the candle. And the candle went out by itself. Yes, it went out by itself. What I'll do is I will post it on my Facebook page. So if anybody's out, wants to go look, I'll have it posted by tomorrow morning about the candle going out. Blew me away. Blew me away. Okay. Blew everybody away. The candle just went out. It was like, and you could tell there was no way in hell that we could actually blow that candle out. There was no way in hell. Because the flame was like halfway down this glass. There's no way we could have done it. And it just went off. That was like really, really cool. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. And then that night, okay, my cousin Roy and Augie, they had a bedroom. Okay, their sleeping quarters was like right below the attic. Okay, so what they did was they set the video camera, toward the attic door. And so they went back out investigating. They just let the camera run. So they, when they got home, they looked at the camera, the footage of the video camera, and you can actually hear footsteps coming down the attic steps. You can actually hear the steps coming down. And you can actually see on the video that someone was trying to open the door, but they could not. And they tried for a good 5 minutes. They tried to open the door. You could see the door jiggle. And when they realized that they couldn't open up the door, you could hear them walking up the steps, stomping on the steps back up to the attic. And I remember that we went up to the attic with a bunch of us. We went up and we were sitting around up there. The attic was beautiful. But you had that really weird feeling about the attic. And then another group member, he took a picture like right at the steps, top of the steps. And it looked like one big major angel. No lie. The wings were wide open. It was tall. Okay. There was no mist going up there. There was no fire, no air going through, nothing like that. But when he took this picture, and he had the top of the line gear too, his cameras were. And what happened was it just dissipated. It just went away. He took the picture, and then he took a couple others, which he could actually see the angel in it. And he took one more, and the angel went away. And when you investigate, you just don't take one picture and just stop taking pictures. You take at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 pictures in a row, real quick, to see what happened. And that's what this guy did. He took like 4 in a row. You could see the angel actually as you saw the angel, and as you could tell as the pictures went forward, you could actually see the angel move away until it got to the fourth. And then me and the guy, we went down to the cellar. Okay, this crazy part. Okay, so we're down in the cellar, and he's sitting where I'm sitting on the chair. He's sitting on the chaise lounge, and all of a sudden we heard shuffling. No shit, we heard shuffling, and he says, "What's that noise? Sounds like shuffling." I said, "Nah, that's me or one of us shuffling, or people upstairs walking around." And then all of the freaking sudden, this thing, whatever it was, okay, came at this dude. This dude was big. He was a big boy. Scared the living crap out of him. He fell out of the chaise lounge and landed on me. Yes. And I have never in my life been so afraid. Seriously. I got scared. I admit it. I get scared. I got scared. And I think what scared me most was the big guy falling on me. But this thing came right at him. And so that was it for me for the rest of the night. Okay. So I went upstairs. Thank God there was a nurse there. And, my pulse was like going crazy. My blood pressure was going crazy. But later on in the evening, my cousin, Augie, and Roy, and I forget who else went down there with them, but they went back down to the cellar. Okay. And when they went down there, they all said it was like they were walking into a portal. It felt like they were walking in clouds, like the Matrix is what he said they were, the Matrix. They couldn't understand it. They didn't have no idea where they were coming or going. Kind of like freaked them out. Now, the interesting thing is that Sunday when we were leaving, they have a book down there. Okay. And Roy, he drew what he saw down the cellar. Okay. What he drew down the cellar. What he saw, he drew it on a piece of paper. And it looked like a duck. Okay. It looked like a duck. A duck's face, and I forget what the body was, but it was crazy, man. And so what happened was they went back in that book. Somebody drew the picture of what they saw down the cellar. This one. And it was the exact same thing. A duck. Or a guy with a duck face. And that just like blew us all away. It did. And then that night, I forgot to tell this story, but at the night, as we were going down, there was a group that was down there 3 weeks before we actually went down there. And they actually forgot a flashlight. And there it was down in the cellar. It was turned off. And we got this on video too. It was turned off. And all of a sudden, the flashlight turned on. It just turned on. You can hear a click, and you can hear the light. See the light come on again. I was like, this is like so cool. Yeah, the Duck Man. Kevin says confirmation. Love that. But wow, a Duck Man? Yeah. So I have no doubt. You know how I I I think and talk about demons, and that house, the Bel Air house, is brutally, brutally haunted, and it has a demon down in the cellar, and that's why I put it on my number one list of one of my favorite investigations I have since 2006. It is below the half. It's 8:35 p.m. It's time to take a break. Okay, everybody, remember this is a 2-hour show tonight. Okay, so do what you got to do. Have a cigarette, Julia. Okay, yes, Julia, good to see you, hon. Julie was down there. Yeah, thinking about bringing it, coming back up. Talked to Roy the other night. You know, we're thinking that he wants to start the group back up again. It's kind of like twisting my arm, But don't worry, Joel. We'll get a hold of you. Absolutely. But Jolie was down there that night when the big boy fell on top of me, and we talked about the duck, you know. Um, but okay, we're going to go on a break, all righty. And when we come back, we'll go to story number 2. And on that note, everybody, go smoke a cigarette, go to the bathroom, do what you got to do, and I will see you in a couple minutes. Come on.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Sunday night edition of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. Don't forget, everybody, this is a 2-hour show. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans, for allowing me to give you 2 shows a week. Sunday nights from 8:10 p.m. to 10:10 p.m. Eastern, and Tuesday nights from 8:10 p.m. to 9:10 p.m. So the first half hour, today's topics are like talking about my 4 favorite investigations. Okay. In the first half hour, we talked about the Bel Air house down in Bel Air, Ohio. Now, the second one that I'm going to talk about is where I would take everybody who wanted to get into paranormal investigation, who wanted to join PPS. Okay. And it's like, it's crazy. Okay. It's a crazy place. It's a good place for people to learn about the paranormal. Okay. Um, and that place is called Blue Mist Road. Blue Mist Road, officially known as Irwin Road, is a desolated, mostly closed off stretch in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, just outside North Park. Its legendary history stems from an eerie, bluish tinted fog that regularly rolls into the ravine, serving as the backdrop for decades of local supernatural folklore. The road got its ominous nickname naturally because the unpaved 5 mile stretch runs parallel to a deep ravine near North Park. A combination of moisture, organic compounds in the dense woods, and lighting frequently produces a low hanging blue mist. And I have seen the blue mist. It is like so cool to look at. It really is so cool. Because of its isolated, creepy atmosphere, the road was accumulated a heavy catalog of urban legends and ghost stories, none of which have any traceable basis in actual historic events. The Hanging Tree. I saw the Hanging Tree. It's a gruesome legend claims that the road was once the site of the Ku Klux Klan meetings and lynchings. That is true. Legend says, "Hey, Buck, good to see you, buddy." Buck, all right, brother. Thank you for popping in. And yes, the Ku Klux Klan did hold meetings back there, and yes, there were lynchings. Legend says there's a large oak tree where if you park underneath it and honk your horn 3 times, you will see ghostly figures hanging from the branches. Well, that's a bunch of horseshit because right there, you can't get to that tree because it is blocked off. It's blocked off by a real thing, what they put on the side of roads. And you can't get back in there with a vehicle. You just can't. You could probably get back there with a bike, but no, that you can just like I will debunk that method. This is what they say on AI. But no, you just don't honk your horn. You can't get back there, but you can walk back there. And we did an EVP session. We ran the K2 meters around that hangman's tree. Okay, the hanging tree, and there was so much activity there. Um, the only pictures that we actually got around the tree, okay, was a bunch of orbs, but you had to dismiss those orbs because we were surrounded by woods, okay, and the dew coming from the trees, and it actually rained the day before. So we really could not say those orbs were spirits or disembodied spirits, as the word is out there now. But that's about it. But like I say all the time, the best evidence you're going to get is personal experiences. And a lot of people had a lot of personal experiences. I know I sure did. And I know for a fact there was a lot of other ones too. Um, but it was like really it's really creepy because there's like maybe 1 or 2 streetlights at the beginning of the road when you park your car. You got to park your car and you got to walk to the road. Okay, and there's like 1 or 2 streetlights that you can see. But I'm telling you what, brother and sister, there's that part after that last streetlight where you go further deeper into the woods. There are no lights, not at all. Okay, and it gets really, really freaking dark. And you could just, as you're walking down, you had the mountain on, let's see, coming down, you had the mountain on the right hand side, a little small hill, with all kinds of trees and stuff in it. And you could actually hear something move. Okay, so here's the deal with that. You say, oh, it could be the leaves rustling, or it could be animals running through, or a deer. Deer is huge out there at the Blue Mist Road. But when everyone flashed flashlights up in the hills, up in the mountain, that little mountain up there, okay, we could not find no animals at all. Not one deer, not one bobcat, not nothing, not even wolves. Not even wolves. No animals. But you actually heard the walking. Okay, you actually heard footsteps or whatever kind of steps walking through the hillside. And the further you went down, you came to a crossroad. Okay. Hey, Heidi, good to see you, hon. That's okay. It's okay to lose track of time. We all do it. It's good. At least you're in. Hello. Glad you're here. But when you get down to, as you follow the road a little further down, okay, you come to the crossroads. And there was a lot of activity around there. I mean, K2's going off, people getting pictures of mist. I mean, if you look at, I'm grateful you're here too. If you look at, the beginning of my show, the little video I put up there, there's like 3 or 4 pictures of Blue Mist Road. Okay, that is in that video. The one where I'm walking down the road and my photographer took a picture, and there are 2 bright white orbs on that, right up above me. No other little dew orbs, nothing like that. Just 2 solid white orbs. And whenever he would go with me to an investigation, especially out Blue Mist, I'll say, take a picture, they're right here. Take a picture, they're right here. I could just feel them. And I told him on that one picture there with the 2 orbs above me, I said, take the picture, they're right here. And he did. And it showed up those 2 orbs. Okay. So when you come to the crossroads, there was a lot of angry spirits there. There was a lot of black spirits there. Oh, Kevin says, I thought that looked like 2 moons. I saw that, Sean. No, it's not 2 moons. Those are 2 orbs. So there was a bunch of black spirits down there. And the first time I went down there, that's how I got my first spirit guide. His name was Julius. And he was huge, man. He was a big, big dude. But all those black spirits that were hanging down at the crossroads were lynched, okay, by the Ku Klux Klan back then, right? And tons and tons of sadness, tons and tons of negativity. I mean, you could just feel the anger in that little crossroads down there. Now, when you get to the crossroad, you walk further down, you come to the hanging tree. Okay. So one day we went out there in the daylight, me and a bunch of others. Okay. So we got to the crossroads. We made a left, and there was a path that went up the hill a little bit. We started walking that path, and we came upon a house that the roof just caved in. The roof just came in. Okay. And I believe, and we believe, that it was like the Ku Klux Klan's meeting house or a house that was ran by the Klan. But here's the neat story about this one, and this is in the daylight, right? Now, what we used to do is we would go take our pictures, then the next day go up to Eaton Park, which is a restaurant, and look at the pictures. So I'm up there looking at the pictures the next day, and they come running through the door. Sean, you got to see this. You got to see this. I said, what? I mean, they were so excited, man. It was unbelievable. They were excited. I said, okay. So they showed me. But at that time, they had those cameras that you got from Rite Aid that you pulled off the shelf, and they got them developed. So here's the deal. So there was 3 of them that actually walked on the roof of the house where the roof came down. There were 3 of them on the roof, and some guy took a picture with the camera and took a picture of them standing on the roof, right? Now, so I said, so I'm looking at the pictures, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards, okay, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, so what is so exciting about these pictures? They're just like normal. And they said, do you remember when we were standing on the roof? I said, yeah. And do you remember when Carmen took the pictures? It was Carmen. And what happened was when they got the pictures developed, there was no pictures at all of them standing on the roof. They were blank. Total blank. I mean, there was nothing in the negatives. It was totally blank. I was like, whoa, this is insane. And I remember Carmen taking a picture of them when they were standing on the roof. But when they got the pictures back, nah, the pictures did not exist. That was crazy. And then Carmen's boyfriend at the time, he went up the hill a little bit, and we were talking to him. And I just snapped a couple pictures. So after he came back down, we looked at the pictures, and he wasn't there. And this was a digital camera. And he wasn't there. But we were talking to him, but he wasn't there. It felt like around the house and around where he was at, it was just like this one big wall of solid something that would not let us take a picture of people there. Yeah, pictures missing. They were totally blank, Kevin. Totally blank. It was crazy. Usually, if you don't get nothing on the camera, at least the negative will come along with it. But on the negatives, Kevin, they did not show up. Hey, Kason. But Blue Mist is in my top 4. Okay. I had a lot of experiences up there. In fact, my sister, adopted sister, she went on an investigation with her group. And her son, Johnny, okay, he's like my little nephew, and when Johnny talks and he sees something, he'll tell you. But what he saw was a Wendigo. I wonder if people know what a Wendigo is. I believe that it's a head that had antlers coming out of the head. Big thing. And he called me up at 2 in the morning and he said, Sean, I saw a Wendigo. And I cannot, being in the business for so long, if a person saw something, they did. And so I believed him. So, of course, I had to go out to see if the Wendigo was there. Not that night, maybe a week ago, week after that. But I could not find anything of anything about, if there was a Wendigo there. But I will tell you this, okay? When you walk down that path, when you walk down that road, and there's just so much shit that happens down there that it could have been. They also claim no full moon, buddy, no full moon. But they also had, Satanists down there that performed rituals. They did. You could see it written. All kinds of bad stuff happened down there. A lot of things. But it's like my favorite go-to if I am jonesing for an investigation. I will go out the Blue Mist Road. And when you go the Blue Mist Road, make sure you take somebody along with you. Don't do it yourself. That's the number one rule. It's the number one rule when you go ghost hunting. Always take somebody with you just for protection. I mean, it got so bad down there one time, down there at the crossroads, okay, that you didn't get no signal on your phones. Everybody's equipment failed. It was something. And Kevin, we did. I got a story to tell you, and then we'll go on our next break here because it's getting to that time. I remember one time we went up to Blue Mist Road, and the sun was going down. And honest to God, the moon was rising. This is true. And all of a sudden, we heard a pack of coyotes howling, talking about some kind of like freaking movie. It was like surreal. We just started walking down. The moon just came up, and we heard a pack of coyotes start yapping away. And that was the best thing in the world. That it was a good investigation that night. But I will tell you this. Okay, I will tell you this. Blue Mist Road is definitely very, very haunted. And if you live in the Pittsburgh area, just go out to North Park and go to Irwin Road. And when you walk down there, bring a camera with you. If you don't have a camera, just walk down. Because again, personal experiences is the best. Okay, we are at the top of the hour. We're going to take another quick break. Okay. And when we come back, we'll go to the third one. All right. So go have a cigarette, go to the bathroom, do what you got to do. Okay. And I will see you in a couple minutes. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. We are talking about my four favorite investigations that I have been on. And I've been to some of these places more than once. And each time that I went to them, it got a little better. The first half hour, we talked about the Bel Air House. Thank you, Heidi. The Bel Air House over in Bel Air, Ohio. Then we just got done talking about Blue Miss Road. And you can look these places up on Google, and you can get similar understanding about how haunted these places are. Now, the third place is the third place that I've gone to that I really, really, really enjoyed, that I really did get a lot of evidence from. And it was like my first time ever paying to go somewhere. Okay. And I've gone there about 8 different times. All right. But I have no problem paying for the place to go investigate. And the reason why is, you know, they don't keep the money for themselves and make a profit out of it. What they do is they restore the mansion like it was back in the 1900s when it was first built, and it looks beautiful. It really, really, really looks beautiful. I mean, the rooms are exactly how they were back when they first built that mansion. But the place I'm talking about is called Prospect Place, a 29-room mansion in Trimway, Ohio. Was built in 1856 by a botanist, George Wilson Adams. Its haunting stems from its dark history, including its use as an underground railroad station, supposed occult rituals, the tragic deaths of locals and railroad workers in the basement, and a slew of unsolved legendary murders. Okay. Now, I don't know if anybody knows what the Underground Railroad was back in the 1800s, 1860s, when slaves would run away from the plantations down south. They would go through the Underground Railroad. And Prospect Place, um, it was people who were sympathizers with the black people, and they were sympathizers. And in Trimway, Ohio, uh, it was one of the places that the slaves would actually feel safe to be. They'd give them, some food, some clothing, whatever, but they helped them free the slaves that come down from south up to the north, right? Um, and the Adams are really big into the railroad down in Trimway, Ohio, and this is where Prospect Place is at. It's Trimway, Ohio is a little small community. It's called Dresden, Ohio, too. And it's a little place, not too many houses. Um, you're like one of them towns called, them towns where everything is a happy town, I guess. I can't think of the word. And so this big mansion sits right there in Trimway. And because of the dark lore, the estate has famously attracted the attention of shows like Ghost Adventurers and Ghost Hunters. The haunting is largely tied to several specific historical legends and tragedies. Okay. The first one is the Underground Railroad and the hanged bounty hunter. And I'm going to read this and then I'll tell you the story behind the bounty hunter. As a staunch bullishness, whatever it's called, Adams used the sprawling basement of Prospect Place as a refuge for runaway slaves. According to local legend, a bounty hunter looking for escaped slaves approached the house in the 1850s, demanded they be handed over. When Adams refused, ranch hands supposedly followed the bounty hunter to his camp, ambushed him, and hung him after from a raptor in the property's barn to protect their secret today. The barn and basement are the most active areas for paranormal claims, with visitors reporting shadow figures, sudden temperature drops, and feelings of dread. Okay. And the bounty hunter. And when you go to the barn, I remember walking into the barn for the first time. Okay, they had benches out. And again, you could just, I mean, it was like I want to say in the 70s down there. But once you walked into the barn, it dropped to the 40s. And you could just feel anger. You could feel a lot of negativity. And you could actually feel the presence of the bounty hunter. Okay. You can actually see the raptors where they hung them from. And we got a lot of good evidence in there. A lot of good personal experiences. A lot of good mist. You know, not so much the orbs. Again, it's outside. And you whenever you take pictures outside, right, you can't even tell if they're orbs or not. You just can't. But there was a lot of mist, especially over where the bounty hunter was hung. Okay. Now, I remember watching the show The Ghost Brothers one time, and they did Prospect Place. And they were in the barn. And I had to shut it off. Okay. Because they found a hole in the barn. It was on the floor, on the ground. And they found a hole. And for about 10 minutes of the show, they were freaking out about this hole. Think it could be a portal. It could be this. It could be that. And you know what it was? A freaking gopher hole. That's all it was. It was a gopher hole. But that goes to show you how TV ghost shows are a bunch of bullshit. That's my opinion. It was a gopher hole. So I'm not really a big fan of ghost shows, you know, but I will tell you this, though. The barn where they hung them is definitely the place to go. If you go down Prospect Place, and I know they still hold investigations. So look on Google Prospect Place, and if you want to investigate down there, go ahead. And you won't be unsurprised. It will be one of the best investigations that you ever went on. Now there was a ghost down there. There was a ghost lady down there, and her name was Constance. And we kind of hit it off, me and her. Okay, Constance committed suicide down there. For some reason, I don't know. But wherever I went, she went with me. Okay, she would go with me. And she was a jealous type of ghost too. Seriously. Because there were people in my group, you know, that tried to be buddy-buddy with me. The females tried to be buddy-buddy. And I literally saw her push this one girl away from me. Either she knew something that I didn't, but she was jealous. And she was like my protector down there. It was funny. But she would not go down to the basement. And when they talk about the basement, that's where the runaway slaves went through. Okay. And you could sit in the back and you could just look at the door, right? You just look straight down. Okay. And you could actually see the shadows moving. They always had a light on. They kept moving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was a sight to see. And a lot of people tried to um, take video and take pictures, hoping to catch something, but they never did. But they saw the shadows. And I remember one time I was down there with another person, and we were looking down, and all of a sudden, no more shadows were going through the room. And I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on here? They quit. So all of a sudden, we saw this one shadow figure put its head around the door and was looking at us. And I was like, either this guy's a bad dude and the slaves are afraid of him, or he just was one scary one. I don't know. But once when that one that turned, peeked his head around like that around the door, after he left, you know, they started to go back and forth. What was crazy down there in the cellar, right? What was crazy down there is that when people died in the wintertime, the ground was too hard to dig up. Okay, it was too hard to dig up. And so they had one of those freezers down here, in ground freezer, where they would bury where they would put the bodies until it got warmer hot so they could dig them a grave. That was creepy. That was creepy. We did a lot of EVPs around that area. We took a lot of pictures around that area and video, but we didn't get anything, not even on the EVPs, thinking that we might be getting something because the basement's like really freaking haunted. But no, not at all, nothing. But you walk into that room where that freezer is, where they would put the bodies. You just got this unnecessary, it was a scary feeling. It was a bunch of sadness. It was a lot of hurt. It was a lot of pain that you felt. Okay. Now, whenever you're in the place that had some bad stuff happen, like people dying left and right, okay, and all kinds of shit, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that energy. And that's what we did. We felt the energies that were in through the whole house. I mean, the rest of the house, it was haunted, but not as bad as the barn nor the cellar. We got a lot of nice mist. We got in the barn, and like right above the room, right above the cellar, we got some nice mist, and we heard knocking, and we felt the cold air rush by us. We went temperature dropping. Yes. And again, like I said, and I'll say it until you're tired of hearing me saying it, it was all personal experiences. And upstairs in the attic, okay, on Ghost Adventures, or was it Ghost Adventures? I'd forget. But it was a dance floor. Okay, it was a dance floor. And there was a cross on the wall. And everybody thought that was the gate to hell. All right. I mean, if you want to Google, the attic or the dance floor at Prospect Place, they'll give you a better backstory about it. But there was no damn portal to hell. It wasn't even really freaking haunted. Nothing. But everybody that went down there before we went, they're saying, "Oh, you got to go to the attic. You got to go to the attic. You got to go." We went to the attic, and not a damn thing happened. Now, the little spirit boy, okay, the little spirit boy, he did come up one time, and one of my investigators were actually rolling the ball with him. I mean, we would say, "Move the ball, kick the ball," and the ball would move. Okay. But whenever we tried to get, some evidence of the ball moving by itself, he ain't no dummy. Okay. He ain't no dummy. He wouldn't do it, but he was up there. Um, what other kinds? Prospect Place. Ah, that's about it. I've gone down there 8 times. It's a wonderful place. It's beautiful now. So if you're in the area down there, please go down and investigate. You'll have a great time. I want to do a little short, place that we went to. This is funnier than hell. Let me tell you something, guys or women, okay? If you're trying to scare your girlfriend or your boyfriend, okay, if you don't want them to be in your life anymore, don't do this, okay? So we went to do an investigation at an apartment building, okay? Because this girl, man, she kept emailing me saying, "There's ghosts in the house, there's ghosts in the house, there's ghosts in the house." It was really creeping her out. Okay. So we went there and we set up the equipment, we set up the cameras, and we're talking, and her boyfriend walks in. Okay. He walks in. So we set out a little shot glass. We set out a little shot glass on the counter in the bathroom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a true story. This is true. And so as we're all talking around, for some reason he grabbed that shot glass. Okay. He grabbed the shot glass and he took it into the bedroom and he put it on a nightstand. So we're there sitting, talking, and all of a sudden this dude screams like a banshee, screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God, that shot glass, it's in here now, it's in here now." And we all run into the bedroom, right? And sure enough, there's a shot glass. Okay. Yeah. Right. So we all run in and we saw the shot glass on the night table. Okay. He says, "Whoa, wow, we had one camera going in this way, and you have one camera going this way." Well, the dumbass, and that's what he was a dumbass. Okay. Saw the camera. Okay. So he tried to avoid the camera that he saw, right? He avoided it. And then we came in and turned the lights on, and he goes, "Look at this, look at this shot glass right here. It came from the living room into the bedroom." And say, "You're full." I'm thinking, "You're so full of shit, it's pitiful." And he said, "Well, I can guarantee that if you look at that camera, you're going to see it, somehow being put on that nightstand." And then a group member turned around and looked at him and said, "Well, what about this camera right here?" And that's all she wrote. We busted him. "Yeah, dumbass. We busted him putting the glass on the nightstand. I'm the one that had to tell her what he did. I don't know if she's still with him or whatever. I do not know. All I know is that he was seeing another girl on the side, and he wanted her out of that apartment so bad so he could bring this other girl in. True story. True story. Went out of his way to do it, and we busted him. But you should have seen his face when the group member looked and said, well, what about this camera? He said, holy crap. Oh, the guy was busted as hell. But so if you're trying to break up with your girlfriend and your boyfriend, okay, seriously, don't do it. Don't go that way. Back to Prospect Place. So another one was adding to the dark history and the mysterious disappearance of George Adams' son-in-law, William Cox. Cox, who was married to Adams' eldest daughter and had heavily invested in the estate, vanished without a trace at the turn of the century. His disappearance sparked rumors of foul play, and it is widely believed in local ghost lore that his restless trap soul wanders the halls of the mansion as punishment for his misdeeds. And that's possibly true. It could be that William Cox. Or could be a spirit of a slave that's wandering through the house. Who knows what it could be? I will be honest with you, still with you, that it is a very, very haunted place. The young girl, the other apparitions and occult legends, a young girl who reportedly died in an accident on the property could not be buried right away due to the frozen winter ground. Remember I was telling you about it. So she was kept in the cold basement. Her phantom is frequently seen playing in the servants' quarters. Never saw it. Be honest with you, I never saw her playing in those servants' quarters. George Adams, the ghost of the mansion's original builder, has also been spotted pacing the main staircase. Never saw him. Dark energies. Some paranormal investigators have claimed that illicit occultists and Satanists used an upstairs room at Prospect Place for rituals, supposedly opening a dark portal that contributes to the residual uneasy energy. Hey, Bob, Robbie, good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Me and Robbie grew up together, my best friend. But that's what I was talking about. It was a dance floor. And no, it wasn't a portal to the residential uneasy energies. Not at all. No. Okay. It was just a haunted place with good ghost investigations, with good ghost experiences, and awesome personal experiences. Absolutely. It was a great place to go, you know. And one more little one before I go, take our last break. We're at and I've talked about this before, but it's still in my top 4, top 10, whatever. But the other one was we were in a apartment, and this girl, she was in my group. She was, I want to say Chinese or Korean. I don't know what she was, but she was like 4'10" and like 90 pounds soaking wet. So her and my brother were down in the cellar, and they were doing some investigating down there. And she literally got picked up and thrown at my brother. And that's the truth. She literally got picked up and thrown. And then later on that night, Okay. We were almost done. We were wrapping up, and my brother went down to the cellar to get the equipment, the cameras and stuff. And as he's walking up the steps, he stopped at the top step. Okay. At the top step, there was a screw that big. Oh, yeah. It was that big. And if he did not see that screw, it would have went right through his foot. So those were like the creepy ones, the creepy investigation. That was a dangerous investigation. Oh, it's Chinese. Okay, Kevin. I don't know, but she literally got picked up and thrown. Yes. That was a good investigation. It was scary. Yes, it was a good one. But we are at the bottom of the hour. Okay, Matt, we're going to do a couple more breaks here, a couple more promos, and then we'll come back and finish up the show. Okay, thank you for hanging in there, everybody. So I will see you back in a couple minutes. Who haven't we played yet? Oh, we haven't played this one yet.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of Native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hey, welcome back to the final segment of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. Don't forget, I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans, for allowing me to give you 2 hours a week, Sunday nights from 8:10 to 10:10 p.m., and Tuesday nights, thank you, Heidi, and Tuesday nights from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. So we were talking about my favorite places to investigate. First half was Bel Air House. The second, where are we at? What was the second one? I followed Bloomis Road. The third one was Prospect Place. And now the Octagon House down in Whiteville, Virginia. The town of Whiteville during the Civil War was crazy. Okay. The whole town, seriously, the whole town where this Octagon House is at. Okay. Again, you can cut the energy with a knife. It was that thick. Okay. And we, in between the investigations, because we were there for 2 nights, okay, we decided to take a walk down through the old part of Whiteville that was still standing. Now, there are some buildings down here, okay, that were back from the Civil War. Well, legend has it, well, it's a true story, and I know I'm going to screw it up, but if you want to really know about the history between Whiteville, about Whiteville during the Civil War, Google it and read it. It's a pretty interesting story. But there's a house down there. It's called the Octagon House. And the owners, I had him on for, he talked about the Octagon House. And it was, again, very haunted. We got a lot of evidence. We actually caught evidence um, with some of the equipment, and that we had. Right now I'm drawing a blank. I'm tired, so I forget what the equipment was. But it was, I mean, it's just like repeating myself. There were ghosts that that just roamed the halls. Didn't care if we were there. Didn't care if we weren't there. But what was creepy about it was the outside of the house. Okay, not so much inside, but the outside of the house. We got better, we got a lot of personal experiences sitting on the porch outside the house. And this place is really big. It's called Dinner with a Ghost. Okay. And we got to do that. Um, and he set it up for us. I can't explain how it was set up, but it was a big dining room with all kinds of little gadgets, um, detectors around the plates and stuff like that. And up on the stage there was a chair, and supposedly, the ghost would sit in that chair. So yeah, it's definitely an octagon house casing. It is shaped as an octagon, yes. And so we decided to go in there. I mean, we did what we could do. We had the equipments going, right? So we decided to go in to this dining room, which had tables and had little thingies on it, like K2 meter thingies. And whenever the ghost would talk, these lights would go off. So we'd be sitting there asking them questions, you know, and the lights would flash on. No shit. The lights would flash on. And when he answered them, it was the best. There was so much. I mean, there's a lot of history behind the Octagon House. You really need to seriously research it. And if you're in Wytheville, Virginia, okay, go to the Octagon House. Seriously, go to the Octagon House, right? You will have another wonderful experience paranormal investigating. And the history behind Whiteville, okay, is huge. It's really, really huge. And it dates back to the Civil War. So, but let me see. Okay. One more little ghost story, and then I'm going to pull cards. I'll do another reading for everybody tonight. Okay. Um, so one more thing. There was a church. Okay, there was a church up in Leechburg, PA. Okay, and he wanted to turn it into a B&B, along with the church being a bar. Okay, and we went up there, got a lot of great evidence. But here's what's really, really, I think, the best evidence ever. and I got to witness it. So did other people too. Okay. Everybody hears about residual energies. Okay. Everyone talks about residual energies, how things just continue. Well, it was like about midnight, and we're sitting in the church up on the altar, and we're looking out, because you had to come up the steps. So at 12 o'clock, everybody started taking pictures, and they were actually catching orbs walking up the steps. And they all sat in different spots in the pews. True story. So about 12:15, okay, the orbs get up and they move down the steps. Come 12:30, nobody's in there. And not like 1 o'clock comes around. No, nobody's in there between 12:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. Okay. And so at 1 a.m., we were sitting there and taking pictures and video, and you can actually see the orbs coming up the steps. No lie, seriously. You could actually see them coming up the steps, and they sat in the same spot that they actually were at 12 midnight. And again, quarter after one, they all get up and they go down the steps again. This happened all the way up until 3 a.m. in the morning. And you could just see them just coming up the steps, sitting in the pews, and then getting up and going away. Now, we slept in the parsonage, okay, where the priest used to hang out or sleep. Wasn't so haunted there. Okay, not too much activity. But a lot of activity happened in the church itself. Okay. We got a lot of good orbs sitting in pews. We got a lot of good mist, got a lot of good shadows. We got a lot of nice evidence. And I have the pictures. But like I said, I do not know how to put them up for you guys to see. One day I will figure it out. Okay, one day I'll figure it out. And then you'll be able to see those. But this place was up in Bleachburg. It was a parsonage. And it finally turned into a bar. The church finally turned into a bar. And the parsonage turned into a B&B. So, but we got to go there just to give it some clout. And it was a great investigation. Now, all the investigations that I have gone on, that I have did, were all good. I learned the history behind the places. I got to speak to the clients that we talked to. Okay. And it was just an eye opener. An eye opener to see, and what I have learned in the 30 years of investigating. I learned a lot. I have one quick story to tell you, and then we'll pull a card. Over on the north side of Pittsburgh, going up the hill, I got an email from this lady, and she said, "Can you call me?" And I said, "Sure." So I called her up. I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "Let me tell you this story." I said, "Okay." So one day, it was a big house too. It was a really, really big house. So one day, she was working downstairs and her daughter was in her daughter's room. It was like about 3 or 4 years old. And all of a sudden, she didn't hear her daughter moving around, so she got nervous. This is a true story. So she went up to the daughter's room, opened up the door. The daughter turned around and said, "Hey, Mommy, I want you to meet my friend Johnny." And there was no Johnny there. True story. That kind of, I was like, this sounds really, really interesting. So we went over and we did a walkthrough. And there was a lot of ghosts over there in this house. Story short, okay. Even in spirit world, there are ghosts out there that like to control other ghosts. Like you see talking, people talking, how real people take control of other people. Well, they do that in spirit world. So there was a man spirit there who was mean, and he had total control over the other spirits that were in the house. And so, in order for them to get news to me, and that's how it works, you know, they sent little Johnny to the little girl who caught the mother by surprise when the daughter said that. And we went over there, we cleared the house out, and after that, did not hear from them ever again. Now, I got an email from this lady maybe 4 years ago. And she said in the email, she says, "I don't know if you remember me, but you came to my house one night when my daughter was seeing a little boy named Johnny. I just have to say that we moved from that place and we went out east. And I'm not writing to tell you that we moved because of the ghost situation that was happening at the time. It was because her husband had a better job offering out there." And she told me that. She said, "It's not about the ghost. They didn't scare us out of their house. In fact, after you came in and did what you did, there was no more hauntings at all." And she said, "I personally want to thank you for saving my family." And I was like dumbfounded. I was just speechless when she told me that. "Thank you for saving my family." And and right then and there, and I'm not talking egotistical when I say this, but it just came over, a feeling just came over like, wow, I actually did that, or my team did that and helped them. Thank you, Sherry. And then, because I kept asking myself, what's my purpose? What's my plan? No, Johnny was not a bad boy, Casey. They sent Johnny to the little girl in order to get a hold of me. But that was my purpose. When I finally realized, when I got that email from that lady 4 years ago, okay, that was my purpose about starting Pittsburgh Paranormal Society and all the investigations that we have done for the clients. I could go on and on and on, but that email made my many years of investigating. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Okay. I hope I didn't bore you guys. It seems like people who came in at the beginning are still here, which is pretty cool. But now it's time to pull some cards, do a little reading for you. Because I don't want to do my stories. Okay, you can tell it. You can say as many stories as you want. Thank you, Heidi. But I need to pull cards because that was just a lot of investigations. Those are like my top 4 or 5, whatever. But just remember, you're trying to get rid of a girlfriend or boyfriend, okay? Don't bring in a paranormal investigating team because we'll bust your ass like we busted that dude. Thank you, Casey. All right, everybody, it's time to pull the cards. All right. I'm going to just pull until I stop. Okay. You ready, Kevin? Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate it. All right. So, thank you, Kara. All right. So I'm cutting the cards. Okay. So here we go. Cutting the cards again. So the first card I pull, check it out, boys, ladies and gentlemen, the coyote, who's the trickster. Okay. And this is where you guys are at right now, right? Or a little bit of your past, being a trickster, trying to trick things out of people in order to get things that you want. Okay. You're not doing it the smart way, you're doing it the hard way. Okay. You're doing the sneaky way of trying to get things from people, or maybe it could be a job, or maybe it could make your life a lot better, but instead of working for what you need, okay, you're trying to trick the system into giving it to you. Now the dolphin is the one that's gone now. Okay, so you think about it, right? So you're being a trickster and blah blah blah, okay, pull the moose, babe, pull the moose. Thank you, sir. But the dolphin pops in. So you got the coyote in the past. You're being the trickster. You're being a pain in the ass, trying to, step on toes, do what you got to do to get ahead. And then all of a sudden, the dolphin pops in on your ass, right? Okay. So the dolphin is considered breathing. And you all know about dolphins, they can travel a long, long ways. Okay. That's why in the animal medicine card, it means mana, all right, which means breathing. So, okay, so you've been busy tricking everybody to get what you want, and all of a sudden the dolphin pops in and says, "You better relax, dude, and watch your breath. Okay, you need to relax a little bit and enjoy your breathing. Okay, sure, we can travel a long time, but as we do it, you know, do it at a pace. Do not do it like you want to do it, like how you wanted it the other day. Okay. Then pops in the squirrel. Oh, this is so fitting in, Heidi. I'm telling you, it's fitting in. The squirrel. Okay, what does the squirrel do? It gathers all the nuts for the wintertime. Okay. Okay. So the squirrel's gathering all this information that the trickster was trying to do. Okay. But um, but the squirrel snatched them up. The squirrel snatched all that shit up that coyote wanted to do, and squirrels, they like to bury their acorns, they like to bury their nuts. So, and usually whenever that happens, they forget where they put them. You know what I mean? And so the squirrel took all that shit the coyote did. Okay. All right, Kara, good to see you, hon. Have a good night. Thank you for popping in. So the squirrel, hiding all the night nuts. And then, my favorite. And then you got the wolf. The wolf is the teacher. Okay. Kara said, no, I was talking about when the squirrel gathered all the nuts. I'm gone. That's funny. That's funny, Kara. But the last card I pulled was the wolf. Okay. The wolf is the teacher. The wolf also represents family. Okay. The wolf also is trust. The wolf also is loyal. So basically, starting out as a coyote, well, you got the wolf on your ass who's teaching you to respect people, to love people, to take, not to take stuff away from people. Don't trick people into believing, because the wolf will be right there on your butt. He's going to bite you in the ass. Okay, that's what the wolf is there. I'm going to draw one more. Huh. Then we got the turkey. I think this is the first time I ever drew the turkey. To me, the turkey, anybody else can help me explain what the turkey is? Heidi, according to the reading? I can't know why the turkey appeared. I'm not drawing anything. I'm not feeling anything. The only thing I am feeling is that the kind of trickster was doing everything in its power to get ahead of things. Where the dolphin came in and said, you know what, slow the hell down. You need to breathe. Don't go crazy on yourself. And then, what else? Um, then you hit the squirrel. Okay. Oh, Kara says, I'll look it up, but I don't think I ever searched turkey. Kara says turkey is food that nourishes others. Thank you, Kara. I appreciate that. Maybe that's why the turkey came into the reading. Siri says, so funny, an older man pulled in my driveway tonight talking about seeing wild turkeys a ways from me. Ain't that crazy, Sure? Yeah, that is crazy. Maybe the turkey is to nourish people. Maybe all that bullshit that you have done to try to get ahead, the wolf put a stop to it, along with the squirrel. Kara says, I got chastised by a wild turkey when she was little. But I hope everybody enjoyed the reading tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hopefully, I can get some guests on for next week, um, and we can go from there. Heidi's phone's glitchy. That's must be that Colorado air. You know what I mean? Must be that energy. Cation said that one turkey survived Thanksgiving. But I believe it's the air and the energy out in Colorado that's causing her phone to be glitchy. I don't know. Heidi says the turkey spiritualized symbolize abundance, gratitude, the harvest, and a deep connection to the earth. Thank you. Hey, Sherry, thank you for popping in. And also, thank you for the moose pictures. I appreciate it. And please have a good night. Um, Heidi says it could be thunderstorms, but no. But with the turkey and what Heidi said, it's a deep gratitude and symbolizes abundance and gratitude. So all that thing that you started out being the coyote, the trickster, and the wolf bit you in the ass and said, don't go nowhere, don't stay nowhere. The turkey came, and the turkey is going to give you a lot of abundance and gratitude. I'm telling you. You'll understand the reading when, like, tomorrow or whatever. But it was a pleasure talking to you guys tonight. Um, I know I got a little bit more time left. I don't know what to talk about. Heidi says willingness and trust and service and sacrifice. So my cousin yesterday, I went to a birthday party. Okay, and my little cousin's birthday, he just turned 11, and they had a party for him. And Roy, that's his granddad, um, pulled me aside and he said, I want to start ghost hunting again. And I got some people who want to go. And he looked at me and he said, are you in? We want you there. We need you there. And I said, sure, I'll go. but I'm not in charge of the group. And he said, understandable. I said, I will be there to help you. I will be happy to go and, help you get on with this investigation. But when it comes down to being the boss of the group, I'm not going to do it. And so I'm really looking forward to June to get back out there, to go back out and do some investigating again. Because to be honest with you, everybody, I miss it. I miss it. And I've gone through so much shit in the last 2 years in my life that it's time for me to wake up and start doing things again for me. And one of those things I love to do is to ghost hunt, to go paranormal investigating. Plus, think about it, right? It gives me a lot more material to tell you guys after an investigation that we have done. It all works out in the long run, you know. So, again, I want to thank everybody for coming in and enjoying the show. I hope you got some out of it. If not, that's okay. Just keep coming back to the shows, and maybe one show you'll get come along, then you might be able to get some. Have I ever seen a skinwalker? No, I have not, Kason. I have not. I have not seen a skinwalker. Maybe one day I will. I will have to go out west, I mean. But I want to thank everybody again for joining in. And children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents, if you have no children, find someone, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And remember, please, protect the children. And on that note, good night, everybody. I will see you Tuesday night, 8:10 p.m. Be there, be square.